There are children who dissociate from their biological sex because they have survived sexual abuse.
I had just gone through a very traumatic sexual experience with an older man. I wanted to change my gender after that happened. Then I went to a therapist from the LGBT center who told me that she was ready to get me on hormones from day one, you know, like excited and ready to just help me transition.
A lot of them will say they've spent a lot of time on social media where they've seen a lot of people who've transitioned, feeling it was very cool, feeling that it was a way to get away from being female. Quite a lot of them seem to have had a very negative experience of being female in a female body.
So when I started getting into online spaces, it seemed like the answer to not wanting to be a woman anymore was to be a man.
Some parents appear to prefer their child was transgender and straight rather than gay, pushing them towards transition.
So it was internalized homophobia. In my mind, the people that were the transgenders, they were walking the streets with their girlfriend or loved one. Nobody knew that they were actually gay.
Children are easily wounded, and children misinterpret the world in which they live sometimes in very profound ways. Very trivial things can happen that they'll interpret in ways that will provoke tremendous anxiety.
A lot of my trans identity was connected with hating myself and seeing transition as this escape.
Young girls are internalizing these images, these airbrushed images online, so perfect, and then look in the mirror and they think they're ugly.
My first problems with self-esteem rose when I was 9, and they mostly circled around the fact that 1, I was ugly, and 2, I was stupid. I mean, there were times where I would just be sitting around just thinking like, man, I'm so ugly.
I was a pediatric transitioner, so I started medical transition when I was underage. I convinced my parents that I was ready for hormones. Once I was on testosterone, I wanted to change my name. Once I changed my name, I wanted a mastectomy. Once I had a mastectomy, I wanted a hysterectomy, bottom surgery, and so on. At some point, I realized that that wasn't going to stop. It was a maladaptive coping mechanism for me. The prospect of completely changing your body, your life, your identity is very compelling to a teenager who's just learning to cope with mental health issues.
There was no real investigation into the other mental health issues that I was going through or any other factors that could possibly be contributing to the feelings that I had at the time.
About 7 years after transitioning to presenting myself as a woman, I was thinking, okay, it's been 7 years now. My problems should have gone away by now, but they hadn't, and actually then gotten worse.
I think that I should have been challenged on the proposals or the claims that I was making for myself. The whole process is really traumatic. There's no going back from it really, because you are changed forever.
I was like, this isn't life. I'm still struggling. I was actually better off as I was before the surgeries than I was 7 years after the surgery.
I was just living so disconnected from my body and so disconnected from who I really was. If I had friends and had meaningful relationships with people outside of the internet, I know that I would have been able to reconcile my female identity with myself the way that I was.